A wealthy businessman betrayed by those closest to him, rescued by the only person everyone ignored, his humble house help. If this is your first time on my channel, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share with your friends and family. It truly means everything to me. Sir, please. The voice cut through the morning silence like a knife. I'm begging you, don't leave this house today. Marcus Chen froze in the marble hallway. He had just grabbed his briefcase, his Rolex catching the morning light, car keys already in his palm. But there she was, Elena, the housekeeper, dropping to her knees on the cold floor, tears streaming down her face, hands clasped together in desperate prayer. What's going on? Marcus asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Elena looked up, her entire body trembling. Please, sir, don't go anywhere today. Something terrible will happen if you step outside that door. Marcus blinked, confusion washing over his face. What are you talking about? I had a vision last night, sir. So real, so clear. You were wearing that exact suit, carrying that same briefcase. You got in your car and... Her voice broke. You never came home. There was blood everywhere. People screaming your name. Sir, please don't go. The air in the room suddenly felt thick, heavy. This wasn't some dramatic performance for attention. Elena's terror was genuine, raw, undeniable. His phone buzzed violently in his pocket. David again. He was already late for the merger meeting. Everything was riding on this deal. Millions upon millions. Stand up, Marcus said, his tone low and controlled. This isn't the time for games. Please, sir, Elena whispered, pressing her palms flat against the marble. I know I'm just the help, but I couldn't stay quiet. If I let you walk out that door and something happens, I'll never forgive myself. Just then, designer heels clicked sharply down the staircase. Victoria Chen descended like a queen, silk robe flowing around her perfect figure, her face already painted with flawless makeup. She paused when she saw Elena on the floor. What in God's name is happening here? Victoria asked, her voice ice cold. She's telling me I shouldn't leave, Marcus replied, never taking his eyes off Elena. Victoria stepped down and crossed her arms. And why exactly? Elena didn't move. I had a dream, a powerful one. If he leaves this house today, he won't come back alive. Victoria scoffed loudly. This is exactly why I told you we need to fire this girl. She's turned into some kind of fortune teller. Victoria, Marcus began. No, let Emmy speak, she snapped. You have the most important meeting of your career this morning. Contracts are waiting. Money is on the table. And now some housekeeper is stopping you with nonsense dreams? You can't be serious. Elena bowed her head lower. I'm sorry, but I had to say something. Get out of the way. Victoria commanded. Marcus raised his hand. Wait. Victoria spun around. Wait for what? He stood there in silence, his eyes locked on Elena. There was something in her voice, something honest, something pure. She wasn't stuttering or trying to impress anyone. She looked like someone who had just witnessed something she couldn't UNSE. Then it hit him. That feeling, that quiet warning deep in his chest. No noise, no drama, just a powerful sense that if he stepped out today, he would regret it forever. Marcus stepped backward. He walked slowly to the side table, placed his car keys beside his phone, and turned away from the door. I'm not going, he said quietly. Elena gasped softly, still kneeling. Victoria's mouth fell open. You're not what? I said I'm not going. For God's sake, Marcus dashed. I said I'm not going. Marcus walked into his study and sat down heavily, his hands folded in front of him, staring at the mahogany desk like it held all the answers in the world. Victoria shook her head in disbelief. You're letting this girl manipulate you over any dream. She's not manipulating me, he said quietly. Something just doesn't feel right. Victoria hissed under her breath. turned sharply and marched back upstairs, muttering angrily to herself. Elena slowly stood up, wiped her face, and picked up the cup of tea she had set down earlier. Her hands were still shaking. Marcus sat there in complete silence, wondering why his heart was racing and why the fear in that woman's eyes felt more real than anything he had experienced in years. What he didn't know was that this was just the beginning. Marcus Chen wasn't just wealthy, he was respected. He didn't chase social media fame or throw loud parties. But in every business circle across the city, his name carried serious weight. He co-owned one of the most powerful investment firms in the country, Phoenix Capital Group, alongside his longtime best friend and business partner, David Rodriguez. Together, they had built the company from nothing. From making cold calls in a cramped downtown office to now signing billion-dollar deals in glass towers and luxury boardrooms. Marcus was the strategy. David was the showman. Marcus was calm, calculating, a listener who could read between the lines. David was charming, aggressive, a risk-taker who could sell dreams to anyone. People admired their friendship, the way they moved like brothers. But only Marcus knew that behind the laughter, behind the champagne toast, behind every handshake, they were nothing alike. Still, the company was booming. Money was flowing like water. Life was sweet. And then there was home. To the outside world, Marcus had everything. A stunning wife, Victoria, tall, elegant, always glowing like she stepped off a magazine cover. A modern mansion in the hills with a wine cellar nobody used, imported art in every room, and enough designer clothes to stock a boutique. They were the perfect couple, always matching at galas, always smiling in anniversary photos, always receiving compliments like God really blessed you too. You're perfect together. But behind closed doors, it was a different story. Marcus had married Victoria out of love, real, deep, consuming love. He met her at an art gallery opening downtown. She was admiring a painting of ocean waves. He was there for a charity auction. She asked him what he thought about modern art, and he answered without hesitation. She laughed, a sound like music. He asked for her number. The rest unfolded like a fairy tale. But fairy tales don't always last. By their second year of marriage, it became clear. Victoria didn't care about companionship. She cared about comfort. She didn't cook. She didn't clean. She didn't want a conversation. She wanted space. And she hated housekeepers. In less than 18 months, she had fired 8. All for the same kinds of ridiculous reasons. She opened the blinds wrong. She breathed too loud while vacuuming. She walks like she's at a flea market. Each time, Marcus would return home to find packed bags and a new name to remember. He tried to complain once. "I'm not running a training camp," Victoria snapped. "This is my home. If I don't like someone, they leave." So Marcus stopped arguing. He focused on work, on deals, on keeping the peace. Then one Thursday afternoon, the latest housekeeper quit without warning. Marcus returned home to find his dinner cold and his shirts wrinkled. The house was silent. His wife was getting a massage in the spa room. Later that evening, Victoria announced, "I found a new one. She starts tomorrow." And that was how Elena entered their world. Quiet, small, with kind brown eyes and hair neatly braided. She wore a simple dress and comfortable shoes. No jewelry, no attitude. She greeted everyone politely and went straight to work. Within hours, she had swept, mopped, organized the pantry, and cleaned the guest bathroom without being asked. She didn't request anything. She didn't touch anything that wasn't hers. She moved like someone who didn't want to be noticed. But Marcus noticed her, not in a wrong way, but in a curious way, because she was different. Most housekeepers watched TV constantly, gossiped, pretended to be busy. Elena didn't. She was up before dawn. She pressed clothes like she was trained at a 5-star hotel. She cleaned the windows without being told. Even Victoria, who never complimented anyone, admitted one evening, "She's not as annoying as the others." That was the highest praise Marcus had ever heard from his wife. Days passed, Weeks passed. Marcus would return from work to find the house spotless, dinner ready, clothes folded, and peaceful silence throughout the rooms. No shouting, no complaints, just calm. He looked at Elena once and thought to himself, finally, someone who actually brings peace into this house. But what Marcus didn't know was that peace was never the reason Elena was sent into his life. Marcus sat in his study without saying a word. His phone lay silent on the mahogany desk, his car keys beside it. The house was quiet except for the soft hum of Central A. He should have been at the office by now, shaking hands, closing deals, posing for business magazines. Instead, he sat motionless, staring at nothing, feeling like he had just avoided something he couldn't explain. His chest felt heavy. The image of the housekeeper on her knees replayed in his mind, shaking, begging, crying that if he left that morning, he wouldn't come back alive. At first, it sounded ridiculous. But now, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had truly been waiting for him beyond that front gate. His phone lit up again. David. Marcus sighed and answered. Yeah. Bro. David's voice came sharp and frustrated. What's going on? You didn't show. The investors are furious. I had to cancel, Marcus said quietly. You had to cancel? Cancel what? Do you know what was on the table today? This merger, Marcus, this deal was gold. I know, he replied, his voice flat. What's happening, man? Talk to me. Marcus hesitated. He didn't know how to explain it. He didn't understand it himself. But before he could answer, another call came in. The screen flashed, office manager. He clicked over. Hello. Sir. Her voice was shaking. James, your driver has been in an accident. Marcus sat up straight. What? Downtown Bridge. An 18-wheeler lost control. Hit your BMW. The same car you use every morning. It's completely destroyed. He's in the hospital, unconscious. We thought you were in the car. Marcus slowly lowered the phone and stared at the wall. The exact car, the exact route, the exact time he was supposed to leave. He didn't move, didn't speak, just sat there, replaying the scene in his head. What if he hadn't listened? What if he had brushed it off? The silence in the house suddenly felt deafening. Footsteps interrupted his thoughts. Victoria appeared in the doorway, still in her silk robe, phone in hand. So you're just sitting here all day? She asked. Marcus didn't look at her. There was an accident. She raised an eyebrow. Okay. James took the car. A truck hit him. The car is totaled. Her hand froze mid-scroll. And you think that means what? I think if I had gone out, I might not be here. She scoffed. So now you're turning this into some spiritual story? Accidents happen every day in this city. Marcus looked at her. You're not even concerned. Why should I be? You're standing here, aren't you? He stared at her face, calm, cold, no sign of worry, no trace of relief. Something shifted in his chest. I'm keeping her, he said. Victoria frowned. Keeping WHO. Elena. She needs to Geo. She saved my life. She caused unnecessary drama, Victoria snapped. She has no right telling you where to go or what to do. This is MY House, and I won't let dash. This is MY House too. His voice was low but final. Victoria froze. The room went silent. She blinked, then turned slowly and walked away, leaving behind the scent of expensive perfume and tension. Marcus sat back down, hands pressed together. He wasn't thinking about Elena anymore. He was thinking about something deeper, something wrong. He didn't have proof yet, but he could feel it. Something in his life was not as it seemed. The tension in the house didn't disappear. If anything, it grew thicker with every passing day. Marcus stopped talking as much. He watched more than he spoke. Watched the way Victoria barely looked at him unless she was complaining. Watched how quickly she changed the subject whenever the accident came up. Watched how she avoided walking past Elena like guilt lived in her shadow. But he didn't say anything. Not yet. Instead, he started asking quiet questions. A few days after the accident, something happened. Marcus was in the dining room reviewing contracts on his tablet. Victoria had just stepped out to take a call. Elena came in to clear the dishes. She didn't speak at first, then quietly, just above a whisper, she said, "Sir." Marcus looked up. She bent slightly, pretending to pick up a dropped napkin. "Please don't sign any contracts this week." He frowned. "Why?" Elena's voice dropped even lower. "I had another vision. This one was clearer. I saw documents. You signed them. Soon after, everything collapsed. You lost your company. Your accounts were frozen. There were police officers. Sir, you were in handcuffs." Marcus stiffened in his chair. She added, "If you sign any document this week, you will not only lose your money, you may end up in prison for something you didn't even do." Before he could ask more, Victoria walked back in. Elena picked up the tray and left quietly. But the words stayed. They didn't just stay, they sank deep. Marcus didn't forget them. 2 days later, David came by the house. He showed up in his usual flashy style, designer clothes, fresh cologne, big smile. "My man," he shouted, pulling Marcus in for a hug. "Thank God you weren't in that car. That crash was brutal." Marcus gave a small smile. "Let me guess," David continued, "that housekeeper is still around? The one who gave the prophecy that morning?" Marcus nodded. David laughed. "Come on, bro. When did you start listening to dreams?" "I don't ignore warnings anymore," Marcus said calmly. David raised an eyebrow but didn't push. "Anyway, forget that. The Singapore deal is still alive. We just need your signature." Marcus nodded. "Send the documents." David grinned. "That's what I like to hear." But later that night, when the documents arrived and Marcus opened the folder, his body tensed. Something wasn't right. The numbers looked off. The proposed investment value was lower than what they originally discussed. The overseas account listed on the transfer page, it wasn't one he recognized. Then he remembered, "Please don't sign any documents this week. You may end up in prison for something you didn't even do." Marcus didn't sign it. He closed the file and locked it in his safe. A quiet investigation followed. He contacted a friend in forensic accounting. What they uncovered was worse than expected. David had been stealing company funds into private offshore accounts for over 3 years. Large sums hidden under fake project names. All carefully orchestrated like someone who never planned to get caught. It wasn't just betrayal. It was criminal. And Marcus wasn't just being betrayed in business. At home, things got worse. Victoria began trying everything to get Elena out of the house. "She's too comfortable," she said one morning, slamming a cabinet door. "Too quiet. I don't trust her." Marcus didn't look up. "She's efficient. She's disrespectful. She's disciplined." Victoria folded her arms. "She's going." Marcus finally looked at her. "She's staying." Victoria's voice rose. "You're choosing a housekeeper over me." "I'm choosing my peace." That night, Victoria locked herself in the guest bedroom. She paced, fumed, then picked up her phone and called David. He answered with a tired voice. "What is it?" "I can't deal this anymore," she said, her voice cracking. "I'm suffocating." "What happened now?" "He's still protecting that girl. He refused to fire her. She keeps interfering with everything. She's just a housekeeper." "And no, she's not. She's a curse. That woman is watching us. She's ruining our entire plan." David was quiet. Victoria kept going. "You told me to marry him. You said if I did, we'd find a way inside, take control of the company, access the funds. We've been planning this for how many years?" "We're still on track." "We're not," she snapped. "We've tried everything. You even sent those men that evening to intercept him on Riverside Drive. Remember?" "I remember." "They were armed, David. They waited for hours. And what happened? He changed routes again. Because of her." David exhaled heavily. "She called him, told him to take a different way home. It's like she always knows. Every trap we set, he walks around it. Victoria's voice dropped. I'm tired. I hate living here. I hate pretending to be a wife. I hate sharing a bed with a man I don't love. You love me, David said quietly. Yes, she whispered. That's why I did all this. But it's taking too long. It's falling apart. And if something doesn't happen soon, I'm walking away. Saturday evening came quiet and slow. Marcus was on the terrace reviewing quarterly reports on his laptop when Victoria walked into the living room wearing a fitted travel outfit. Her scarf was tied elegantly around her neck, her nails freshly manicured. She stood near the staircase, casually checking her phone. I'll be leaving tomorrow morning, she said. Marcus didn't look up. Where to? Phoenix. Mom hasn't been feeling well. I need to check on her. He nodded slowly. All right. I should be back Wednesday. Okay. She waited for more questions. Maybe a hug, a safe trip, anything. But Marcus simply returned to his screen. Something about the silence made her nervous, but she smiled and walked away. Marcus didn't move. He didn't show any emotion, but inside he was already making a call. Follow her quietly. Don't lose sight. Don't interfere. Just send me updates. The next morning, she left the house at 7:30 a.m. Her luggage was designer. Her smile was soft. She kissed Marcus lightly on the cheek and waved goodbye. By 9:15 a.m., the first update came in. She didn't go to Phoenix. She drove straight to the Marriott downtown, checked into the presidential suite. Room 2405. Name on the register, Mrs. Sarah Williams. Marcus read the message without flinching. By 9:50 a.m., the second update came. David arrived. Baseball cap pulled low. Sunglasses. Plain blue shirt. He didn't check in. He went straight upstairs. Same room. Marcus stayed at the photo. Then he sat back slowly. No shock, no panic. The truth had already been beating in his chest for weeks. This was only confirmation. They didn't come out all day. By 6:45 p.m., Marcus arrived at the hotel in a black sedan. He didn't tell his driver why. He didn't need to. He got out calmly, walked inside. The concierge greeted him with a smile. He didn't smile back. Room 2405, he said. She hesitated. Are you Dash? Marcus brought out his wallet and placed several crisp hundreds on the counter. I won't be long. She swallowed hard and handed him the spare key. He didn't rush. He didn't knock. He opened the door. And there they were. Victoria in a white silk robe, standing near the minibar, holding a glass of champagne. David, shirtless on the couch, scrolling through his phone. They both looked up at the same time. Everything froze. The champagne glass slipped slightly in Victoria's hand. David stood up too quickly. Marcus didn't say a word. He stepped inside, looked at both of them, one after the other, then gently closed the door behind him. Victoria opened her mouth. Nothing came out. David tried to form a smile. Hey, man. Marcus raised one hand. Don't. David froze. Victoria's lip trembled. Marcus, I can explain. Don't lie, Marcus said quietly. Not here. She looked at him like a stranger. You followed me. I stopped trusting you 2 months ago, he said, voice low and clear. Now I know why. David stepped forward. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think, Marcus said. And worse. There was a long silence. Marcus turned to Victoria. You married me for this. Her eyes burned. You never saw me. You were always married to your company. And you were always married to my bank account, he said. You and your business partner. Victoria flinched. Marcus took one final look at both of them. I hope it was worth it. Then he turned, opened the door, and left. No noise, no drama, just the silence of a man who had finally seen everything he needed to see. That night, He returned home and sat in his office alone. He didn't cry. He didn't break. He made 2 calls, one to his attorney, the other to the company's financial advisor. Prepare divorce papers and begin the process to buy out David's shares. Immediately. Marcus didn't eat for 3 days. The mansion was full of expensive furniture, but empty of peace. Every polished surface felt like it was mocking him. Every photo on the walls reminded him of how foolish love could be when handed to liars. He didn't cry. He couldn't. The pain didn't come with tears. It came with silence, the kind that wrapped itself around his chest and refused to let go. The woman he called wife was gone. The friend he would have died for was dead to him. And Elena was still there, sweeping corners, folding sheets, serving him meals he barely touched. The day the divorce papers came back signed, he didn't flinch. Victoria didn't even bother showing up. She sent her lawyer. "Tell him I agree to everything," she had said. "Just give me my freedom." Her freedom, after trying to destroy him. After plotting with a man she slept with behind his back. After lying beside him every night while planning his END. She wanted freedom. Marcus signed the papers with steady hands. But the fire in his chest was another story. He went back to the house that night and sat alone in the dark. The chandelier was on. The curtains were open, but the house felt like a tomb. He had everything but nothing. And that was when she walked in. Elena. She didn't knock. She didn't hesitate. She walked into the living room the way light walks into darkness, quietly but impossible to ignore. "I'm leaving tomorrow," she said, her voice soft but firm. Marcus looked up from the couch. His throat tightened. "Why?" he asked. She didn't blink. "My assignment here is over." Marcus stared at her. Of all the people in his life, this was the one who didn't lie. The one who saw the traps and didn't keep quiet. The one who risked her job, her comfort, even her life for him. "You don't have to go," he said. And this time, his voice cracked a little. "You're the only person who hasn't hurt me." "I know," she said gently, "but I wasn't sent to stay. I was sent to save." Marcus stood up slowly, walked over to her. His heart was heavy. He opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came. So she spoke again. "If you had signed that contract," she said quietly, "you would have lost your company, your name, your freedom. You would have gone to prison while the people who planned your destruction walked free and celebrated over dinner." His jaw clenched. She took a deep breath. "But you didn't sign. You stayed. You listened. That means you're ready." "Ready for what?" "To start again," she said, this time with your eyes open. They stared at each other. Then Elena did something beautiful. She smiled. Not the kind of smile that says goodbye, but the kind that says you'll be fine. "Live right," she said, backing toward the door. "Trust slowly. Love carefully. Watch everyone." She turned, opened the door, and just like that, she was gone. Marcus stood in that doorway for a long time, the evening breeze brushing past him like a whisper. He didn't chase her. He didn't cry. But deep inside, something was breaking and healing at the same time. He walked back into the living room, picked up the framed wedding photo of him and Victoria, stared at it for 5 seconds, then smashed it against the marble floor. The glass shattered just like the lie. He bent down, picked up a shard, and looked at his own reflection in it, cut, bruised, awake. And for the first time in a long time, he smiled. Not because everything was fine, but because the storm was finally over, and he had survived it. It took a year, a full year of silence, of starting over, of rebuilding a life that had been designed around betrayal. Marcus poured himself into Phoenix Capital. He restructured the company from the inside out, cleaned out the corruption, and replaced every person who had once answered to David. He opened a new branch in Seattle, hired fresh minds, refused shady deals, walked away from questionable contracts, became the kind of man he wished he had been from the beginning. And with time, the scars began to fade. He started taking morning walks again. He started eating with joy. He even started smiling without forcing it. And when love came knocking again, it didn't come with fanfare. It came gently through a woman he met at a bookstore cafe who didn't care about his last name or his bank balance. She cared about literature, philosophy, travel, the quiet things. He didn't rush it. He didn't announce it. But when he held her hand one evening under the stars, he knew this time it was real. Thank you so much for watching this incredible story. If it touched your heart, please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more amazing stories, and share this with your friends and family. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me bring you more inspiring content. Until our next story, bye for now.